It was quiet in the small, hidden room above the city. The window stayed shut, the curtains drawn. Every step, every whisper had to be silent. A little girl was in that room with a diary in her hands, trapped in silence, writing her thoughts, holding on to hope while hiding from fear. Outside, there was war. German soldiers marched through the streets of Amsterdam. Sirens echoed in the night. Jewish families were dragged from their homes, one by one. The world was falling apart right outside her door. But inside, she wrote, not for the world to see, not to become famous, but simply to feel free, to stay human, while the world outside lost its humanity. Her name was Anne Frank, and her diary would outlive the war. Anne Frank was born on June 12, 1929, in Frankfurt, Germany. Her parents, Otto and Edith Frank, were proud, kind-hearted Jews. Anne had an older sister, Margot. They lived a happy life. Birthdays, school, books, laughter. Anne was bright, playful, and loved telling stories. But outside their home, Germany was changing fast. After World War I, Germany was in deep trouble. There was poverty, unemployment, anger. Then, in 1933, Adolf Hitler rose to power, and he blamed everything on the Jews. They are the problem, he said. They are not real Germans. That was a lie, but many believed it. Nazi laws were passed. Jews lost their jobs. Jewish children were banned from schools. Their shops were destroyed. Their books were burned. Then came Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. Jewish homes and synagogues were smashed across Germany. Anne's parents knew, we must leave before it's too late. In 1934, when Anne was just 4, the Frank family moved to Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Anne started school. She made friends, learned Dutch, and dreamed of becoming a writer. For a few years, they lived in peace. But in 1940, Nazi Germany invaded the Netherlands, and the same danger returned. Now Jews had to follow strict Nazi rules. They couldn't go to normal schools. They couldn't ride trams or bicycles. They couldn't visit parks or cinemas. They had to wear a yellow Star of David on their clothes in public. That star was meant to shame them, to say, this person is a Jew. If they didn't wear it, they could be arrested. Anne's world became small. She couldn't go where she wanted. She couldn't feel safe, and friends around her began disappearing. On July 5, 1942, a letter arrived. It was for Anne's sister, Margot. The Nazis ordered her to report to a labor camp, but everyone knew these camps were really death camps. The Frank family made a decision. Tomorrow, we go into hiding. Behind Otto Frank's office building was a hidden door. Behind a bookshelf, it led to a secret upstairs space. They called it the secret annex. Anne, Margot, Otto, and Edith moved in quietly. Later, they were joined by the Van Pels family and a dentist, Fritz Pfeffer. 8 people, in silence, for over 2 years. They couldn't run, couldn't laugh, couldn't flush toilets during the day. Any noise could mean death. For her 13th birthday, just before going into hiding, Anne received a red and white checkered diary. She named it Kitty, and in it, she told everything. She wrote about the silence, the fear, the arguments in the attic, the dreams of freedom, her love for Peter, her hope to be a writer. I still believe, she wrote, that people are truly good at heart. Her words were full of light, even while the world was dark. On August 4, 1944, someone told the Nazis about the hiding place. That morning, Nazi police raided the Annex. Anne, her family, and the others were all arrested. Anne's diary was left behind, pages scattered across the floor. But one brave woman, Miep Gies, found them. She didn't read them, she simply saved them. "For when Anne comes home," she said, but Anne never came home. First, they were taken to Westerbork, a transit camp in the Netherlands. Then, on September 3rd, 1944, they were sent on the last train from the Netherlands to Auschwitz in Poland. It was a 3-day journey, packed in cattle cars, no food, no rest. At Auschwitz, men and women were separated. Anne never saw her father again. She and Margot were forced into hard labor. Cold nights, little food, death all around. In October 1944, they were moved to Bergen-Belsen, a concentration camp in Germany. Conditions were worse there. No beds, no medicine, no protection from the cold. Typhus, a deadly disease, was everywhere. Margot died first. Anne died soon after. At just 15 years old, it was only weeks before the camp was liberated by British soldiers. She died, not knowing her father had survived. Anne's father, Otto Frank, survived Auschwitz. He was freed by the Soviet Army in January 1945. He returned to Amsterdam, hoping to find his family, but there was no one left. Then, Miep Gies gave him Anne's diary. He read every page and wept. But he remembered Anne's words, "I want to go on living even after my death." So, he made her wish come true. In 1947, Otto Frank published her diary, first in Dutch, then in many languages. The Diary of Anne Frank became one of the most read books in the world. It was a voice of a girl who never got to grow up, but never stopped dreaming. The place where Anne Frank once hid, that small, secret room behind the bookcase, still stands today. It is now called the Anne Frank House, and it has become a museum. Located at 263 Prinsengracht Street in Amsterdam, visitors from around the world come to walk through its quiet rooms, to see the hidden staircase, to feel the silence of the annex, and to remember a little girl who never stopped writing, even in fear. The museum holds Anne's original diary, photographs, pages of her writing, and the desk where she once sat. Millions visit every year, not just to learn about history, but to feel it. Because once she wrote in silence, now the world listens. Anne Frank never left the annex. She never saw freedom, she never got to write her book, but her diary survived. "How wonderful it is," she wrote, "that no one need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world." She was just a girl, but her words became a light in the dark. This was Anne Frank, and her voice still speaks.